Hi, it's Bumble. Welcome back to my channel. This will probably be a shorter review. I didn't really write too much notes for this movie. I was gonna probably watch this eventually. I don't know. I was gonna watch The Jungle Book. That's what I said I was gonna watch. The live action Disney remake. I think from like 2016 or something. And it was really weird. YouTube TV's never done this to me before, but I clicked on it. Like the poster I think matched what it was supposed to be. And I started the movie. I didn't remember how the movie starts, and I thought, oh, cool. That's nice that they're doing the storybook intro thing again. And then the movie started, and I'm like, wait, this looks old. Why is it mentioning about Technicolor? And I realized it was listed as a different Jungle Book movie. It's like the description was correct with like the name of the actors and stuff and everything, and the poster was right, but the movie itself was for a Jungle Book movie that was actually from like the 60s or something, but not the Disney one. But it was, like live action and everything. I don't know which version of the Jungle Book that was. I mean, it was probably good. I don't know. I know there's like several versions of the Jungle Book, but I'd wanted to watch the Disney remake specifically because I had watched the Disney animated one, but that was weird. YouTube TV's never done that to me before, of having it listed as like a completely different movie. So anyway, then I was like, okay, I'll just watch Cruella, and then I saw that hadn't been recorded yet. So it was either going to be this or Robin Hood Men in Tights, which I've seen before. It's pretty funny. I still have it on my list. I'll watch it at some point. But then I saw this I added this to the list. I recorded a bunch of Halloween movies like 5 months ago, and I thought, you know what? Sure, I'll check this out. I saw it was another John Carpenter movie. And I think one of the only movies of his that I'd seen was Halloween, which I didn't really remember when I started this movie. It was up to like a certain point in this movie that musically I was like, wait a minute, why is this the music from Halloween? Which was pretty cool. The soundtrack to this was pretty good. And I thought, you know what, I've heard this movie's supposed to be pretty good. I'll watch it. I thought it was okay. I feel a little disappointed. I don't know. I guess because during the Halloween season, I'd watched so many movies where it's like, these people or whatever going around like killing people, like slashers. That's what I'm trying to say. I'd watched like a bunch of slashers. I mean, this one is kind of like that. I mean, the car is going around killing people and stuff. It's kind of a similar format. I think I just don't really find this as interesting because it's a car killing people. I know that's probably what makes the movie memorable and stuff, where it's a sentient car that is in love with this teenage boy who loves the car just the same and is trying to kill anyone that gets in the way of their relationship. And I mean, I do like that Christine doesn't have, that's the name of the car, doesn't have the ability to talk, and instead she, besides being able to drive around by herself without a driver, will play music. A lot of the music, it's really weird with the music in this movie, but kind of cool, where it's either like 80s synth music or Christine is playing like oldies from the 50s songs, and the lyrics happen to match whatever she's feeling or what's happening on screen, and that's basically her way of communicating. I thought it was pretty cool. I always like that with characters, that they don't verbally speak, but they communicate with like music that matches the vibe they're going for. I also like that the car being evil and sentient is never explained in this movie. Like, you get to see Christine's origins of when she's built, which I thought was interesting, where all the other cars in the factory are white, but Christine is like a bright pink. Most of the movie she looks red because she's old. I think she kind of seems to shift more to a red tone, but she's originally pink, which I thought was cool. And she's just already violent from the get-go. Like, there's a guy working on her, and the hood is up, and the hood comes down, it squishes the guy's hand, and then there's this other guy who's smoking, and part of the cigarette or whatever, or the cigar, falls onto the seat, so Christine kills the guy. What's interesting to me is, I understand, like, okay, she's killing people that mistreat her or whatever, but the first guy, the guy that she crushes his hand with like her hood or something, wasn't doing anything against her, was probably just trying to like if anything, make her better, and she just injures him just because she's just evil just because she can, and there's no explanation. I've heard for the book, because this is based on a Stephen King book story, that in that one Christine is like possessed by a ghost or something. I'm actually glad they don't have that here, and instead it's just, yeah, evil sentient car, no explanation, it is what it is. I think that just makes it more interesting, honestly. But Christine, I don't really care about a car going around killing people. It feels kind of less fun because, I mean, on one hand it's cool, it's like, okay, it's just an evil car, but on the other hand, it feels a little boring to me in that sense. I did like the human characters though. I find it interesting as well. This movie seems to make fun of 50s nostalgia of having this like classic car that's going around killing people, and none of the characters really like the music that Christine plays. Like literally the last line the movie is this girl saying I hate rock and roll or whatever. And then the main character, his name's Arnie. I noticed that the further the movie goes along and the more he's hanging out with Christine, the more he dresses like a 50s greaser. I thought it was interesting. It's like all of these elements of the 50s, and especially in like 50s movies that are normally looked back on like fondly or whatever. Or if you think about other kinds of movies where it's like, you know, like Grease is a movie from the 70s, where it's like 50s nostalgia, and those things are looked on positively, but here in this movie it's all just treated as like evil or whatever. And I find that interesting, just this idea in that sense of like nostalgia itself being kind of evil, and like everyone hates Christine except for her new owner Arnie. It's like a whole thing, because this movie, I think it's from like 1983, but it takes place in the late 70s in California, which I find kind of cool. Like there's a time skip between when Christine's made and then she ends up being owned by this old guy. Because I was curious, because I knew the car was evil. I was like, where the heck are they going to even find this car? She belongs to this old guy. He looks kind of sketchy. He just lives in like the middle of nowhere or something. And the car had belonged to his brother. Now the guy has the car, and Christine's all beat up and whatever. And Arnie's immediately like, yeah, I want to buy this car. He like falls in love with her on first sight, basically. And when I say love, I mean in like a romantic way. He's like very romantically in love with this car and stuff, and gets really clingy to her and such. Like some of the text on the poster says something about she takes control of her teenage owner Arnie. I think that's somewhat true, but I also feel like it's like he feels happy around Christine, and it kind of gives him the excuse to be more confident. And I feel like it's more like his own personality is kind of showing a bit more, and the car is kind of an excuse of that rather than like it influencing him or whatever. Because that's what's crazy to me about Arnie is like he's originally this kind of nerdy looking guy with these glasses and whatever, and seems like a nice kid or something, and then some unspecified amount of time passes, and then suddenly he doesn't have the glasses anymore, and for the rest of the movie he's like a huge asshole to everyone. It's like very sudden, and all of the side characters are like, dude, what the heck happened to you and everything. And the movie, and Arnie himself tries to give reasons for that or whatever, of like why he likes Christine so much, and the personality change and whatever, of like Arnie originally has to argue with his parents to even get Christine. He gives this whole little speech or whatever about, oh, you know, for 17 years I've had to put up with you guys, and you guys never really let me do anything that I want, and I want just this one thing. And they still don't let him have the car. He ends up having to put Christine in like a garage somewhere or something, or like a car shop. I felt like a little bad for him in that moment, but then not really for the rest of the movie. And he's like bullied by people. The bullies in this movie, it's what's always weird to me. I noticed it specifically in movies from like the 80s, where they'll be played by grown-ass adults, but they're having to be high schoolers. Like, the bullies in this look like they're in their 40s or something, and they're supposed to be high schoolers. It's always so weird to me with these kind of movies, where I just think, like, if you just made them college students instead. I mean, college students probably wouldn't have as much of the high school bullying aspect or whatever. Not that there isn't, like, mean people in college or anything, but you know, it's always stereotyped to high school. But then if you say it's college, you can get away with anything, because people go to college in all kinds of ages. Like, I was like 18, 19 when I started college, and there were people in my classes as old as like in their 60s or something. So you can have people at whatever age in college. I always just think just make them in college, and then the age thing won't be weird. It wouldn't be weird of having someone that looks like they're 40 in college compared to like a 30-year-old playing a high school or whatever. Anyway, but yeah, Arnie gets like super into Christine, where he like always and only refers to her by her name, which I know that just sounds polite, but like, this is a car, you know. And he's like happy to learn her name, and he ends up dating this girl named, I think her name's Lee or Lay or something, and she I feel bad for her as a character. She's the character I felt kind of the most bad for, where she's like dating Arnie, and Arnie doesn't really seem to care about her that much, and Christine locks Lee in like a car and tries to poison her, and Arnie doesn't like do anything about it or whatever, and he makes these really flimsy excuses. And then he tells this detective later in the movie of like, oh yeah, she's not my girlfriend, and then tells her on the phone like, hey, can you give me one more chance or whatever. She needed to like dump his ass early on, but whatever. And then Arnie tries to reason. He has like this other friend named Dennis who is like kind of really the secondary character, honestly, where Arnie's telling Dennis like the reason he likes Christine so much is basically like calling himself ugly and being like, oh, Christine's kind of ugly too, but I can like fix her up or something, and we're like made for each other. But he isn't even really like ugly or anything. And it's just funny to me that everyone hates Christine in this movie except for Arnie. Like, his parents get upset about Christine being bought, and the guy that ends up housing Christine in his like garage or whatever is like really pissed about it and being like, why did you have to buy this car or whatever. And the thing is, nobody even knows that the car is like sentient at that point or evil. They just see her and think she's like a junk heap or whatever. Sorry, I've gone through most of my notes. I'm trying to see what else. But it is kind of funny watching the humans have really strong reactions towards this car. Like, Arnie's girlfriend gets like really jealous of Christine even before Christine tries to kill her or anything. And Arnie gets like personally offended when no one likes Christine. And Christine's kind of funny just in terms of the songs that she plays as well. Like, when she's around Arnie, she'll play songs like We Belong Together or whatever, and then when she's around other people, it's also still like 50s older songs, but the lyrics are like much different. Like, there's this part when Christine is getting beaten up by all these bullies, like they literally like smash her windows and everything, and there's this song that has lyrics of like, keep it coming but you can't come in, like kind of trying to not give in or whatever. And then Arnie just ends up kind of going nuts after a while, where there's this part when his dad pushes him against a wall because he's like, hey, you're being too rude, and Arnie gets out of it and gets in this position where you think he's gonna like try to strangle his dad or something. Like, I know he's in love with his car, but he's like such an asshole to everyone. And most of the time when Christine's trying to kill people in this, Arnie isn't there. And characters will ask him about it, and Arnie will always have some kind of alibi and everything. It's just Christine going around like, you know, taking out the competition for Arnie's affections or whatever, which is like his girlfriend, but then also the bullies that like beat her up and everything. But then during like the final battle, I guess I'll call it, where Dennis and Lee are trying to kill Christine, Arnie is behind the wheel. I think he's like so personally offended that they're trying to kill Christine that Arnie's gonna risk his life of trying to kill his friends, you know, even though his car is in danger and everything. I think it is cool that they try to fight Christine with like a steamroller, and then the ending's kind of satisfying when they don't just hit her with it or something or run her over once. They run over her, like the steamroller is literally on top of Christine, and it's just rolling back and forth until it finally like smushes her to death. And she's just playing a song called Rock and Roll is Here to Stay. She just does not feel intimidated by anyone in this movie. It's really funny to me. What was I going to say? And then Christine also has this ability where she's able to just regenerate. Why does the evil car have regeneration powers? Like, is this one part, I guess Arnie is somehow able to like communicate with Christine because he says like, okay, show me, and her headlights turn on and there's like sexy music that starts playing, and I thought like, is he gonna fuck his car? I feel like if he fucked his car, this movie wouldn't have had so many problems of the car trying to kill everyone, but whatever. I feel like there's like this weird sexual tension between like Arnie and his car that just needed to get resolved. But then instead it's that Christine just fixes herself up where just all the dents and everything just magically disappears and she turns back to pink. And then from there she does that like throughout the movie, but it was kind of cool seeing that for the first time. We realized, oh shit, the evil car can just heal itself no problem. Which is interesting to me because there's times in the movie where I guess Christine just stays destroyed for a while. She just chooses not to heal herself, and you can assume she probably has this ability the whole time. So like, why she's like so beat up when Arnie originally goes to buy her? Could she not just heal herself up then, or was she just low on sentience juice or whatever? Let's see what else. I think the coolest part of the movie for me though was Christine. The bullies are at a gas station and Christine goes after them and she causes the gas station to explode and she's like covered in flames and drives away. Just the imagery of her covered in flames was really cool, especially because then she goes to chase one of the bully characters and you see him running away, and then it shows his POV where he looks behind his shoulder and you just see Christine covered in all this fire. That was cool as hell, honestly. Or there's this, I didn't really find the movie creepy for being a horror movie about a car that goes around killing people. Not that it was like cheesy or anything. I mean, the concept of a car running around killing people is a little silly, but it didn't really feel like scary or tense or anything. It was pretty chill. If anything, I feel like once I started watching horror movies, and you know, I wasn't really good with horror movies originally. I feel like I should have probably just started with this. But there is this one part that was a bit creepy where the guy that owns the garage, he's like this older guy, he's holding a gun and he's pointing it at Christine because he thinks Arnie's in there and is causing trouble. And then Christine at this point, this is after she'd been covered in flames at the gas station, so she's all like smoldered and burnt and whatever, and looks like hell. And the car door opens and no one's inside, and the guy just goes inside of Christine and just kind of sits in there for a little bit, and nothing's really like happening. Eventually she does do something, but I think with that kind of slower pace plus the music and everything, it came off as a little creepy. And at first I was thinking like, okay, there's only so many ways this car can kill people, where it's either she locks them in the car and poisons them, or she runs them over or hits them with the car or something. But then what she does with this guy is she squishes his organs. I guess that causes his heart to stop moving, or she causes the car seat to slowly move towards the wheel until the guy just kind of stops. He doesn't get like choked to death that way, but I'm pretty sure his organs are squished because he just kind of dies basically. I was surprised, but I was glad, because I mean, this is a movie about a car that hits people and stuff, but it isn't as violent as I like expected it to be. I'm glad there wasn't any kind of scene of like someone getting run over and it like happening in like slow motion or like gory or anything. None of that really happens. I mean, there is blood, like Arnie's covered in blood by the end, but it's not as bad as I expected or anything. The shoot, hold on. I was going to say the actor that plays Arnie. What is his? Oh, his name's Keith Gordon. Okay, yeah, I see that on the poster. I was about to look that up. I've never seen him in anything, or at least I don't think I have. I could have. This is a movie from the 80s. He looks pretty young. Maybe I've seen him in stuff where he's older. I've never heard of him. I thought he did a good job playing Arnie. There's this one part where he gives this little talk to his friend Dennis about how much he believes in Christine. He gets like really into it. I thought that was pretty well performed. Though if I met someone who was like Arnie, who purposely drove in the wrong lane just because he had that much confidence in his car, I'd never talk to that person again. Like, do that shit when you don't have passengers in there. Like Arnie does stuff like that, or the way he treats his girlfriend. I'm just like, how do these people have the patience for this guy? I would just never want to see him again for some of the stuff he pulls on his friends. Though I do still kind of feel bad for Arnie that he ends up dying in the end. Where he's in his car and he's trying to kill his friends and stuff. And like, obviously that's not cool. But there's this one part where I don't even really think it was Arnie. I think it was just Christine at that point, and Arnie's just kind of in the car. She rams into this like office building, but she does it so fast that Arnie gets just straight up shot out of the windshield. And I did get startled at that part, not him being shot out of the windshield, but it was more so that he's shot out and he ends up grabbing his girlfriend, or I think she's just his ex at this point, and he like full on screams, and he ends up kind of catapulted into like giving her a hug or something as he's flung out towards her at the windshield, and he's covered in blood and he screams and he's sort of like in her arms, like in like a hug sort of way, and then he falls down. And he screams so loud for some reason that was kind of what made me a little bit startled. I mean, I get that he just got shot through a windshield, so he's probably covered in like glass or whatever, but still. And then the last thing he does as he's like dying, and there's like a close-up of it too, where he kind of strokes the front of Christine like very gently with his hand and then dies. Like he still loves her and isn't mad about like dying for her or something. And at that point I thought, okay, Christine's probably going to be some kind of heartless bastard and not really care about Arnie dying or anything or whatever, and she's going to keep trying to kill these people, or maybe she's just going to leave now that Arnie's dead. But no, she keeps trying to kill the other people, though she does play this song that's called I Love You Always. And the thing that's interesting is I don't think this is even the first human that Christine has fallen in love with anyway, because her previous owner, like her other previous owner, who was like the brother of the guy who had Christine, the brother of the guy that sold Christine to Arnie, that's probably how I should properly phrase it, was described when he was still alive of like he only cared about the car and stuff. So maybe Christine keeps falling in love with owners. I don't think it's like genuine love on her behalf though. I think it's some kind of just obsession, and then the person dies and she just kind of moves on to the next person, you know. But the owners seem like they genuinely fall in love with her. And then Christine gets run over by the steamroller, and that was pretty nice. And there's a detective character I'd mentioned. I thought he was going to be more helpful or more important to the plot. Like, he has a conversation with Arnie where he's kind of asking Arnie about his whereabouts, and I think, okay, this guy's going to start investigating the murders. Maybe he'll become the main character or something. And he shows up at the end. He talks to the other two remaining characters, Lee and Dennis. But that's about it. The detective doesn't really do much else. He's kind of just there, I guess. And that's it. That's pretty much the whole movie. I thought there was like a couple of memorable scenes, like I mentioned, but other than that, I just felt it was kind of wasn't really for me. And the thing is, it is kind of in the format of like slasher movies and stuff. It's just replaced like Michael Myers with a car that kills people, and it's not like I'm against like inanimate object killing people kind of movies or anything like that, but I think because it's a car and that's it, it's not like possessed or whatever, or there's not really anything else, it's just a car that's killing people. I feel like I was less interested because I feel like when it's like a person or a monster that's killing people, you can like kind of do a little bit more with it. There's like a little bit more, I guess, acting wise, but here it's just it's this car. I don't know. I just think it wasn't really for me. I don't regret watching it though. It was cool. I haven't seen a John Carpenter movie I haven't liked yet. I think the only one of his I've seen so far. Let me see. Let me look on my phone. Yeah, because I've seen Halloween. I've seen a little bit of The Thing. Oh wait. No. What am I talking about? I have seen The Thing. I watched it with my mom. I don't know how I forgot about The Thing. That one was really good. That one was kind of creepy. I can see why it's so memorable. For some reason, I thought he only did horror movies, but he's done movies like Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China, which I've heard those are also good. I gotta watch those at some point. But I haven't really heard of most of his movies, except he did do the Halloween movies. Again, I've only seen the first ones. I've never seen Firestarter. I have seen... Oh, he did Starman. Okay, musically, I feel like that makes sense. I like that movie. That one isn't really, like, creepy or anything. Yeah, but, like, dude did a ton of movies throughout, like, the 80s and 90s. Wow. Okay, I really gotta watch more of his work. It's good. But this one was okay, but I'm still glad I watched it. I feel like this is something I would have watched for like Halloween, and I was originally gonna do that. It's just I was trying to just watch more stuff on YouTube TV, and I couldn't watch what I wanted to watch. But yeah, I don't know what was up with the Jungle Book. I'm not like desperate to watch it though, and I've already seen the live action Disney one. If I run into it eventually, maybe I'll rewatch it and whatever. I was just kind of curious how the voices sounded because I don't really remember, and I kind of wanted to do it more as a compare and contrast to the other Jungle Book, the other one that I watched. But that's okay. But Cruella's like recorded on there. It's just not available yet. I'll get to, but I think it records when I'm like not going to be able to watch it, so it might be a while till that review. But we got Christine instead. I've just kind of been in like a movie watching mode, honestly, so that's what I'm up to. Oh, speaking of which, I have a movie I gotta watch with my friends soon, and I've heard it's good, so probably gonna be a review of that. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye bye.